Hello, I've been practicing cardiology for over 25 years, and during that time, I've had the privilege of caring for thousands of hearts, many of them belonging to older adults just like you. If there's one truth I've learned again and again, it's this. Most people don't realize just how powerful supplements can be, for better or for worse, especially after age 60. Your heart becomes more sensitive, not just to what you eat or how much you exercise, but also to what you take in form. And while some supplements are genuinely helpful, I've seen too many cases where something as simple as a daily vitamin quietly contributed to elevated blood pressure, irregular heart rhythms, calcified arteries, or worse, a heart on the edge of failure. The irony, many of these patients were doing everything right. They walked daily, ate whole foods, took their vitamins faithfully. They were proud of their routine, and understandably so. But when we look deeper through labs, scans, and sometimes emergency room visits, we found that the very supplements they trusted were pushing their cardiovascular system in the wrong direction. Now, I'm not here to criticize anyone for taking vitamins. I take supplements myself. But the truth is, your body changes with age, and so should your supplement choices. You see, most of the supplement industry is designed with the general population in mind, not with a 68-year-old body that metabolizes differently, not with arteries that have already worked hard for decades, and certainly not with the complex medication regimens that many seniors are already on. So, in this video, I want to speak directly to you, not as a marketer, not as a company spokesperson, but as a doctor who has spent his career listening to the heart. We're going to look at 5 specific supplements that I've seen quietly harm my senior patients, often without them realizing it. We'll talk about what these substances actually do inside the aging body, why they may work against your heart, not for it, and most importantly, what to consider instead based on research, clinical evidence, and real-world results. Because yes, your heart is still resilient, it can adapt, it can recover. But it can't do that if we keep feeding it the wrong tools with the best of intentions. I believe the key to better health in our later years isn't about doing more. It's about doing less, but with greater wisdom. So, if you're ready, let's begin with the most commonly misunderstood spot of all. The one marketed as a miracle, antioxidant, but in high doses, can thin your blood, disrupt your rhythm, and quietly increase your risk of stroke. Let's talk about vitamin E. Vitamin E has been praised for decades as a heart-healthy nutrient. You've probably seen it on supplement shelves labeled as anti-aging, immune-boosting, or protective against memory loss. And it's true in small amounts. Vitamin E plays an important role in protecting your cells from oxidative stress. Others the concern. The dose matters, and the context matters even more. Many seniors take high-dose vitamin E without realizing it. 400 to 800 IU per day is common in over-the-counter supplements targeted at older adults. But studies and clinical experience suggest that this much vitamin E may do more harm than good, especially to the aging cardiovascular system. Why? Because vitamin E has a blood-thinning effect. And while mild thinning might sound beneficial, particularly in reducing clot risk, that effect becomes dangerous combined with medications that many seniors already take. Aspirin, statins, blood pressure, drugs, or anticoagulants. I've seen this play out far too often. An older patient comes in with bruising they can't explain. Another reports shortness of breath or a fluttering sensation in their chest. One arrives at the emergency room after a fall, an internal bleeding that wouldn't stop. Their heart scans don't show plaque, but their rhythm is off. Their blood is too thin, and the common thread daily high-dose vitamin E, taken with good intentions. We need to remember that vitamin E is fat-soluble, meaning it stores in the body rather than flushing out like vitamin C, that build-up over weeks, months, even years, can silently increase bleeding risk, disrupt the heart's electrical signals, and weaken the strength of heart contractions. What's worse is that the damage is rarely obvious at first. There's no clear signal telling you this dose is too high. The symptoms are slow, easy to dismiss until something serious happens. So, what should you do? Here's my recommendation, based on both the data and what I've seen in real patients. First, don't exceed 200 IU per day, unless your doctor specifically recommends it. Most seniors don't need high-dose vitamin E and won't benefit from it. Second, prioritize food sources instead of pills. Almonds, sunflower seeds, spinach, and kale. These foods contain vitamin E in forms your body understands, and they come with fiber, healthy fats, and no risk of overdose. Third, be mindful of what else you're taking. If your multivitamin already contains vitamin E, and you're also eating fortified foods or taking a separate supplement, the total can add up quickly. Most importantly, talk to your doctor or pharmacist. Bring in your supplement bottles. Let them see the full picture, because even natural nutrients, when taken in the wrong amount or in the wrong combination, can stress the very organ we're trying to protect. Vitamin E isn't the villain, but in high doses, and especially in combination with other heart medications, it becomes a risk you shouldn't ignore. In the next section, we'll look at a supplement that's almost universally recommended after 60, yet it may be silently stiffening your arteries instead of strengthening your bones. Let's talk about calcium and the essential role of vitamin K2. For decades, we've been told that calcium is the key to strong bone, and that's true. Calcium plays a vital role in maintaining bone density, especially as we age. That's why millions of older adults, particularly women after menopause, reach for calcium supplements every day. But there's a critical piece of the puzzle that many people don't know. Without vitamin K2, that calcium might not end up in your bones. It might end up in your arteries. Let me explain. When you take a calcium supplement, your body absorbs it into the bloodstream. But calcium doesn't come with instructions. It doesn't automatically know where to go. That's where vitamin K2 comes in. K2 activates a protein called matrix chlor protein, MGP, and that protein's job is to keep calcium out of your arteries and in your bones where it belongs. When you don't have enough K2, and most people over 60 don't, the calcium circulating in your blood can deposit into soft tissues like arterial walls, heart valves, even your kidneys. This process is called vascular calcification, and it's one of the most underdiagnosed cardiovascular risks in seniors. I've had patients with excellent bone scans showing strong, dense skeletal structure, but at the same time, they're experiencing stiff, inelastic arteries, elevated blood pressure early, signs of congestive heart failure, and in some cases, sudden cardiac events. The common factor, they'd been taking calcium supplements for years without K2. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not telling you to stop calcium. For some people, it's essential, but it should never be taken in isolation, especially not in high, and especially not without K2. Here's what I recommend. First, talk to your doctor about whether you actually need supplemental calcium. If your diet includes dairy, leafy greens, fish with bones, or fortified foods, you may already be getting enough. Second, if you do take calcium, make sure it's paired with vitamin K2, ideally as minquinone 7, MK7, the form best absorbed and most studied in cardiovascular protection. Third, consider adding magnesium to your regimen, another mineral that helps regulate where calcium goes and supports muscle function, including your heart muscle. You might also ask your doctor if a coronary artery calcium CAT scan is right for you, especially if you've been on calcium for years without K2. It's a non-invasive test that shows whether calcium has built up in your arteries. This isn't about fear, it's about precision, making sure that the calcium you take does the job it's meant to do without unintended consequences. Remember, strong bones don't require stiff arteries. With the right guidance and the right nutrients, you can support both at the same time. Next, we'll look at another supplement many people take when they feel tired. But when used without medical supervision, it can quietly overload the heart, liver, and brain. Let's talk about iron and why a little boost can backfire after 60. Iron is one of those nutrients that sounds simple, even essential. It carries oxygen in your blood. It helps fight fatigue. It prevents anemia. And when you're feeling tired, it's easy to assume, maybe I just need more iron. But here's what I see in practice, and what most seniors aren't told. Taking iron when you don't need it can quietly damage your heart, your liver, and your brain. Here's why. Your body has no efficient way to eliminate excess iron. It's not like vitamin C, which you can flush out in your urine. Once iron is absorbed, it stays and it builds up over time, particularly in your organs. The condition is known as iron overload, or in medical terms, secondary hemorrhage. I've had patients often in their late 60s or 70s come in with complaints of chronic fatigue, joint stiffness, brain fog, palpitations, even subtle mood changes. They often chalk it up to aging. But when we dig deeper, we find they've been taking iron supplements for months, sometimes years, without a medical diagnosis of anemia, and lab tests reveal something troubling. Ferritin levels well above normal, elevated liver enzymes, and in advanced cases, early signs of cardiomyopathy, a form of heart muscle dysfunction related to iron toxicity. The heart, like all muscles, depends on a delicate balance of nutrients. Too much iron creates oxidative stress, a chemical reaction that essentially rusts tissues from the inside out. This stress can weaken the heart walls, disrupt its rhythm, and increase your risk of heart failure. What makes it even more dangerous is that iron overload develops slowly, often over years. By the time symptoms appear, damage may already be underway. So, how can you protect yourself? Here's what I recommend. Never take iron just because you feel tired. Fatigue has many causes, including poor sleep, vitamin B12 deficiency, thyroid issues, and even mild depression. Iron deficiency is only one possibility, and it should always be confirmed by a blood test, including ferritin, serum iron, and total iron binding capacity. Be careful with multivitamins. Many senior formulas now exclude iron for a reason, but some complete or general formulas still include it by default. Always check the label. Avoid iron injections or hydrocipals unless prescribed. These are powerful tools when needed, but harmful when used blindly. If you've been taking iron for a long time, ask your doctor to check your ferritin. It's a simple test, and it could save you years of silent damage. Finally, understand this. Iron deficiency is real, and for some seniors, especially those with GI bleeding, heavy menstrual history, or malabsorption, it needs to be addressed. But for the majority of older adults, iron overload is far more common than most people realize. So, if you're taking iron to play it safe, I encourage you to pause and ask the right question first. Because when it comes to iron, more isn't better. More can quietly be dangerous. Next, we'll look at a vitamin commonly marketed as natural, safe, and essential. Often found in memory and sleep supplements. But in high doses, it can damage your nerves, interfere with your heartbeat, and leave you worse off than before. Let's talk about vitamin B6. Vitamin B6 is one of those nutrients that gets quietly added to a lot of products. Multivitamins, memory boosters, sleep aids, and even energy drinks. It's often marketed as natural, mood-enhancing, and essential for brain health. And in the right amounts, it's absolutely necessary. Your body uses B6 for nerve function, red blood cell production, and neurotransmitter balance. But here's what most people, including many older adults, don't realize. Too much B6 can damage your nerves and your heart's rhythm. Over the years, I've met many seniors who describe symptoms like tingling or burning in the hands and feet, weak grip strength, unsteady walking, random heart palpitations or fluttering, fatigue or brain fog. They can't explain. Often they're told it's just part of aging. But blood work tells a different story. Elevated levels of vitamin B6, far beyond what the body can safely handle. Here's why this happens. Unlike most water-soluble vitamins, which the body can flush out easily, B6 can accumulate in your tissues over time, especially when taken in high doses. Once it builds up, it starts damaging the myelin sheath, the protective coating around your nerves. This can lead to a condition called sensory neuropathy, a form of nerve injury that causes numbness, burning, or loss of coordination. In severe cases, it can take months, even years, for the nerves to heal, if they recover at all. But that's not the only concern. B6 also plays a role in regulating the electrical impulses of the heart. When levels are too high, it can disrupt the heart's natural rhythm, leading to irregular heartbeats, arrhythmias, dizziness, or lightheadedness, increased risk of stroke or sudden cardiac arrest in vulnerable individuals. The scary part, this kind of toxicity isn't rare anymore because many seniors unknowingly consume B6 from multiple sources at once. Their daily multivitamin, a separate brain health or nerve support supplement, fortified cereals or drinks, energy, blends or protein powders. Add it all up, NDR is a lead exceeding 200,500% of the recommended daily intake every day without realizing it. So, what should you do? First, check your labels. The recommended daily amount of B6 for older adults is about 1.5 to 2 milligrams. If you're taking a supplement with 50 milligrams, 100 milligrams or more, that's a red flag. Second, favor food-based sources. Bananas, chickpeas, potatoes, tuna, and fortified whole grains all provide healthy, balanced amounts of B6 your body can manage. Third, avoid combining products that contain overlapping B6 unless directed by a physician. And finally, if you're experiencing unexplained tingling, numbness, or heartbeat irregularities, ask for a B6 blood test. It's a simple test, and it could prevent long-term nerve or heart damage. Remember, B6 is a helper, but like any helper, it can become disruptive if it overstays its welcome. Natural doesn't always mean safe, especially when it's concentrated into a pill and taken daily without oversight. Next, we'll look at what may be the most misleading category of all multivitamins labeled as heart healthy, filled with ingredients that can actually raise your blood pressure, stress your liver, and put your heart at risk. Let's talk about the multivitamin trap. Every pharmacy shelf is lined with them. Brightly labeled bottles claiming cardio support, senior vitality, 50+ essentials, or heart health formula. The idea is simple and appealing. Take one pill a day and support your heart, brain, immune system, and more. As a cardiologist, I understand the appeal, but here's the truth. I've learned from decades of reviewing labs, reading ingredient lists, and treating real patients. Many of these so-called heart-healthy multivitamins include ingredients that may actually strain your heart, not support it. Let's break it down. Some of these formulas contain high doses of niacin, vitamin B3, while niacin can help lower cholesterol. At high levels, it can cause sudden drops in blood pressure, flushing, dizziness, or fainting, liver enzyme elevation, and in rare cases, long-term liver toxicity. Others include herbal stimulants like green tea extract, jojoba ginseng, or guarana. These can increase heart rate and blood pressure even in people who otherwise have stable reading. For seniors with sensitive cardiac rhythm, these ingredients can trigger arrhythmias, palpitations, or anxiety-like symptoms. Even ingredients like vitamin A, when taken in excess, can become toxic over time, especially in those with reduced kidney or liver function. And the most concerning part, these risks are often buried behind vague terms like proprietary blend or natural energy matrix. You don't know how much of each ingredient you're getting, and neither does your doctor unless you bring in the exact label. In my practice, I've had patients come in complaining of unexplained fatigue, fluctuating blood pressure, rapid or irregular pulse, elevated liver enzymes. And what did they all have in common? A multivitamin they'd been taking daily, sometimes for years, thinking it was helping them live longer and stronger. Here's what I advise. Be wary of marketing language. Heart healthy is not a medical designation, it's a marketing term. The FDA does not require supplement makers to prove those claims unless they're making disease treatment statements. Read the label carefully. If you see long lists of herbal ingredients, mega doses of common vitamins, or vague proprietary blends, think twice. Avoid multivitamins that try to do too much. The more benefits they promise, the more ingredients they're packing in, and the harder it is to control how your body reacts. Instead, talk with your doctor or pharmacist about your actual nutrient needs. Sometimes all you truly need is a few simple targeted supplements, not a kitchen sink blend. And above all, remember this, just because it says natural or designed for seniors doesn't mean it's right for you. At this stage of life, your heart is more responsive to everything, both good and bad. The best strategy isn't to take more, it's to take what works for you, and only what your body truly needs. In the final part of this video, I'll share with you which supplements I most often recommend to my senior patients, how to simplify your supplement routine, and why it's never too late to support a healthier, stronger heart. Let's talk about what to take instead, and how to protect your heart from here forward. By now, you've heard about several vitamins and supplements that may be silently working against your heart. And you might be wondering, if I shouldn't take those, then what can I take? What's actually helpful for my heart, my blood vessels, and my future? That's a good question. And the answer isn't about adding more pills. It's about being selective, purposeful, and most importantly, informed. So, here are 3 supplements I regularly recommend to my senior patients. Not because a label says heart healthy, but because the science and real-world results support them. 1. Vitamin D3. Most adults over 60 have insufficient vitamin D levels, especially those who spend limited time outdoors or live in colder climates. Low vitamin D is associated with higher blood pressure, weaker bones, increased inflammation, and even a higher risk of cardiovascular disease. What I recommend: have your levels checked with a simple blood test. If low, supplement with 8,002,000 IU day. The exact dose should match your lab results and doctor's advice, or get safe sun exposure. 10-20 minutes a day depending on skin type and location. 2. Magnesium, especially magnesium glycinate or citrate. Magnesium plays a critical role in over 300 bodily processes, and your heart depends on it for electrical stability and muscle relaxation. Signs of magnesium deficiency include irregular heartbeat, muscle cramps, sleep disturbances, high stress sensitivity. Why it matters for your heart. Low magnesium levels can increase the risk of arrhythmias, especially in older adults who are on diuretics, PPIs, or blood pressure medications. What I recommend: aim 4 to 5,400 mg day from magnesium glycinate or citrate forms that are gentle and better absorbed, or boost your intake naturally with foods like pumpkin seeds, spinach, avocado, and legume. 3. Omega-3 fatty acids, EPA, DHA. Omega-3 south, particularly from fish oil, help reduce inflammation, support brain health, and protect against irregular heartbeat and arterial stiffness. Clinical trials have shown that omega-3 south can reduce triglycerides, improve vascular flexibility, lower risk of cardiac death in high-risk populations. What I recommend: eat fatty fish like salmon, sardines, or mackerel 2-3 times per week. Oh, I'll take a purified fish oil supplement with at least 500 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA per day, higher if prescribed. Choose a brand that's third PIP party, tested for purity and heavy metals. But remember, supplements are not a substitute for lifestyle. Even the best nutrients cannot replace what your heart truly needs: movement, sleep, joy, connection, breath. Your heart is a muscle, and like any muscle, it responds best to consistent, kind, intentional care. I've had patients in their 70s, even 80s, turn their cardiovascular health around, not with a cabinet full of pills, but with simple, sustainable habits. Walking 20 minutes a day, choosing whole foods over processed ones, reducing stress through breathing, meditation, or even gardening, getting better sleep and better conversations, letting go of the myth that it's too late, because it's not. It's never too late. Not at 60, not at 75, not even at 90. The heart is remarkably forgiving. It just needs a reason to keep beating strong. Want the final message? So, if you've made it this far, I want to thank you. It means you care. It means you're curious. And that's where real change begins. I encourage you to revisit your supplement cabinet. Bring your list to your next doctor's visit. Ask questions and choose what you take with intention, not habit, not fear, and definitely not marketing. Your heart has carried you through a lifetime of experience. Now it's your turn to protect it with wisdom, not worry. And remember, less is often more. What you take matters, but how you live matters even more. Thank you for watching. If this video helped you, feel free to leave a comment below. I'd love to hear one thing you're going to apply from today. And if you'd like more science-backed guidance, tailored for older adults, don't forget to subscribe. Here's to your heart and the year still ahead of you. Stay strong. Dr. Thomas Caldwell.